it going?
Going great, Ram. How are things at your end?
Good. Apan kya hai? See, we've been doing this podcast series for a few episodes now. So the feedback I'm getting from our followers is that we are being too stiff and maza nahi aa raha. What we are, as Hyderabad is famous for, that jovialness is somehow missing. So let's spice it up a bit now and try to give a different flavor to actually our original flavor to the audience.
Yes. Okay, so maybe we are becoming too camera conscious.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
whatever. So
Yes.
let's assume for a minute that there is no camera.
Yes.
And we have having our regular discussion.
Absolutely.
So
Bata khani.
So, what do you want to discuss today?
नहीं आजकल चल रहा है मार्केट में क्या चल रहा है मनोज भाई?
I तो flavor of the season sectoral picks है.
Sector.
Yeah, wherever I go, people will ask me कौन से सेक्टर में इन्वेस्ट करना, ये अच्छा है क्या, वो अच्छा है क्या, डिफेंस में डाल सकते हैं.
Especially ये war शुरू हो गया है, हर जगह war चल रहा है.
So typically when so many people are talking about a sector, maybe that's the time to get out of the sector. But that underlines the point. See, we have been following our philosophy, our methodology, etc. But it makes a lot of sense for us to look at sectors little forward looking in terms of what is likely to do well. Okay, अभी उसके लिए थोड़ा पीछे देखना पड़ता है.
I agree. Let me stop you there. See, basically, unfortunately, a lot of AMCs have जब भी कुछ नया थीम निकलता है एक नया सेक्टोरल फंड लॉन्च कर देते हैं, नया थीमेटिक फंड लॉन्च कर देते हैं, राइट? दे डू दैट.
Yeah.
And over a period of time, it has become a bit. People have become a bit cynical about it. कि जब भी शहर में कुछ होता है, चलो नया माल निकालो. Which after some point in time you kind of lose trust with the thing. So I'm not saying AMCs have done a bad job at it, but थोड़ा सा वो bad rap मिला है. So how do you address that?
See, that is what launching a new sectoral fund or a flavor of the season sectoral fund is kind of reactive. Okay, that means much water has already flown by the time you come up with the sector. So it is unlikely that that particular sector will give you returns.
Right.
Another issue with sectoral fund per se is that the fund manager does not have the flexibility to invest outside of that fund.
Yes.
So when the sector actually loses its steam, things have moved on.
Which is quite often.
Which is quite often. Investors are still stuck in the sector. One of the major problem is when do you get out of the sector? Okay, and that is what we've been working on when trying to provide a structure to the investment around sectors.
But why even do that? See, a flexicap fund automatically does it. A flexicap strategy, like our Jewel or Spark kind of does it automatically. So the question, let's say I'm just playing the devil's advocate or counter argument. तो क्यों करने का?
हाँ, क्यों करने का? Because markets are dynamic. Okay, and based on what is happening around you, there will be certain movement. So think we are not great dancers, but let's say we are on the dance floor and there's music going on.
Yeah.
Okay, and so suddenly there's a change in music, from a fast rap song to, let us say, a slow song. Will you continue dancing the same way because you've been doing it that way for some time? So there is a change. So there is a change, and if you adopt, then you are likely to enjoy the moments more.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to COVID. What happened?
मेरे माइंड में स्टक हो गया. रॉक एंड रोल म्यूजिक चल रहा है और आप अभी भी भांगड़ा कर रहे हो.
हाँ. तो अगर हम देखें तो if when COVID started becoming critical for people, for initial few days nobody wanted to believe anything, but you saw that investments very quickly moved to the pharma sector. Okay, if you are not reacted, if you still continued with your flexi cap approach, your regular, which all makes sense, but then if you want to capitalize on the opportunity, then you need to know कि कौन सा sector अभी is likely to do well. We are not betting, we are not picking lotteries here, but we are doing a very structured, uh, intelligent way of stock picking.
Right. So then the counter argument number 2 is, why not buy the good pharma stocks when a COVID-like event happened? Or why not buy, some defense stocks when government started this Atmanirbhar policy in defense?
Yeah, you can do that. Okay, provided you have the time, money, resources. There are so many defense sector stocks, and अपने हैदराबाद में तो it is very common that whatever is the flavor of the season, company will change its name to that sector.
पूरा गुजरात में हर जगह है. Let's not single out Hyderabad.
Tomorrow, Manoj Trivedi Financial Services will become Manoj Trivedi Infotech or Manoj Trivedi Defense Stock. AI, whatever, depending upon what's the flavor of the season. So becomes very difficult for you to track each of these companies, etc. Because you have so many other things also going around.
Right.
But if you are looking at a sector ETF, then there's a dedicated, there's a focused approach to that particular sector.
Sure.
And it's a continuous process.
So you're saying build a basket of
ETFs.
ETFs that track that particular sector?
Yes.
So you're getting the benefit of diversification. You're not indulging in the volatility of stock picking, which some investors definitely don't want to do. They want a diversified portfolio. Provided you pick the right signals.
Right, that is very important. That is what is the problem with what you told with AMCs, etc. By the time you invested, the signal has already changed to the next color.
Right.
Okay, so it's very important for you to be ready when it is amber light, so that the moment it is green, you are moving ahead.
Sure.
Okay, not when the signal is already turned red. So when we are doing a sector specific strategy, you have to look at metrics which are sector specific. Our regular metrics are there. There is revenue growth, there is OPM, there is PAT, but there are certain numbers which are specific to a particular sector. Okay, if you are talking about banking stocks, then the key number is NPS. Like that, you pick up metrics which are relevant to a particular sector and see how they are behaving as the ecosystem is changing. Okay, for example, if capacity expansion is happening in a sector, okay, let us understand the cyclicals first. How does it happen? Okay, let's say, for example, government announces some project, some housing project or some road building project or whatever. People like you, me, man and woman on the street understand that, okay, this will boost the cement sales. There's a lot of demand for cement. But there are already cement companies which are having capacity. So initially when the demand comes in, the volumes go up. Okay, prices remain the same. Now there is more demand coming in. Cement companies cannot increase the capacity overnight. So they start increasing the prices. So your margins go up. When the cement companies find that, okay, I am working full capacity, I have increased my prices and still there is demand, then they think of, okay, I will put up another unit. Now that another unit cannot be a marginal increase, it has to be a significant increase. So suddenly the capacity has increased.
So the gross block goes up, the CWIP goes up. At an industry level, it goes up.
Correct. And then you find that cement company which was looking at huge volumes, so huge data and overcapacity utilization is suddenly now underutilized, under capacity because capacity has expanded.
Right.
So it tries to grab more share of the market by reducing the price.
Right.
Okay. Demand goes up, you get orders, but still you're not able to meet. Then new players come in.
Correct.
So there is more capacity built. At that time, you start reducing the prices, you cut down on production, and suddenly you see that the cement stocks are not doing well.
Margins come down.
Margins come down.
So it's a basic cycle that ensues.
And then the reverse happens, then the weaker players quit the industry. They are not able to take the pressure, the losses are. So automatically
We're seeing that
capacity
play out in the
shrinks.
paints industry now, with Birla Opus coming in, and our favorite stock got battered for quite some time, right? Similarly now in cables and wires segment, the same is happening with Adani's, even Birla's again coming in. So some of the wires stocks have gotten beaten now. So wearing the geek hat that I normally do, it makes sense to feed this into a model. I mean, आजकल AI और model का ज़माना है. Technology का ज़माना always है. But and that's what So it behoves to build a model which captures all signals. I mean, you gave example of cement, for example, but banking rhymes with the credit cycle,
right?
And NPAs, NPA trend, credit offtake.
Correct.
Then let's say healthcare anyway ज़्यादा cyclical नहीं है. But consumer goods, for example, inflation, right, where the GDP is growing. Capital goods is again a great example. Infrastructure. So it builds, and given that there are at least 12 sectors that we identified when we saw it, which capture 75% of the listed space. And these 12 sectors are represented well by ETFs that have good volumes on the exchanges.
Right.
It makes sense to build a model which can capture all these signals, correlate with various macroeconomic indicators, and let it run. Because see, all said and done, we don't like launching this flavor of the season kind of stuff, right?
Correct.
For us, it is always to build strategies that adapt to the market and the environment, and automatically rebalance and so that you're not betting.
Correct.
Right? You don't want to bet too much, because the cumulative odds of betting something right is very low. Right? Every time you have to bet, right?
Correct.
That's why timing is difficult, as they say. You have to time the exit. Let's say you're 50% right, 50% wrong. Then you have to time the re-entry, 50%. So your eventual probability of success is only 25%.
Correct.
So I think that, I was just wearing that hat to see how this can be.
Yeah. So what we are doing is, we are not betting.
Yeah.
We are actively tracking the signals.
Yeah.
And it is not you and I tracking the signals. It is the machine that is tracking the signals.
Yeah.
Okay. So we get signals at the right time, entry signals as well as exit signals.
Yeah.
So we are not stuck in any sector.
Right.
We are not in love with any sector.
Yeah.
Okay. Neither do we hate any sector.
Right.
We just move our capital to sectors which are likely to do well based on the signals.
Yeah.
And we've done significant amount of backtesting to check whether we are in the right direction.
Manoj bhai, this model discussion is all great, but my favorite phrase is rubber hitting the road. गाड़ी कैसे निकलता, आगे कैसे बढ़ता, skid होता, overturn होता, जो भी है. तो और एक, let's take one more illustration of how this worked in the last 2-3 years. Let's take a not so distant scenario.
Right. So one thing that immediately comes to my mind is the trigger with government increasing its CapEx. So you go back to 2022 budget. CapEx was increased from about 5.92 lakh crores to 7.5 lakh crores, and then to more than 10 lakh crores.
In the next year, yeah.
Over the last
trend
budgets,
started going up, and I remember in Jan 22, the government also announced a new scheme for enhanced capital good deployment, etc. It was rolled out in multiple phases.
Absolutely. So clearly, you see that the impetus is on building infrastructure. So the sector will immediately come into line.
Right.
Okay. So, and you can see the impact. Order books go up, companies' performances improve, etc. But for you to enter that sector, if you're waiting for all this to happen, then you're missing the boat.
Yes.
Okay. You have to enter when that signal is flashed.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so here it is not just the machine part, because by the time these as you said, right, these things flow into the annual report,
Yes.
P&L. By then the bus would have left, right?
Correct.
So it's not just about the machine part, but also tracking government, mainly government policies. I think recently government has, for example, renewable energy is a focus area.
Correct.
Potable water is a focus area. And with all this tariff thing, tamasha that is going on, there's a huge amount of import substitution that will happen.
Yes.
Right? I think Prime Minister already has given one signal of, in Bihar mein speech happened, right? About
So,
buy more Swadeshi.
So, again, the idea is not to jump onto a statement and start making your investments, but catch the signal and start your analysis. Okay, think in terms of, okay, how is this going to pan out?
Fair point.
Okay, and we are obviously going to look at numbers of that particular quarter. The minimum that should happen is the order book should be going up. Okay, that is probably our first signal.
Yes.
To say, okay, the government has declared its intent and is walking the talk by giving an order.
Sure.
Okay, that order getting executed, translating into revenue growth, profit, etc., will come later.
So basically, so the way I hear, to summarize what we've discussed so far, one is sectoral ETFs,
Yes.
which come in and come out based on clear math and clear direction. So which again, there could be two streams converging. One is government policies or industry events or global events, etc.
Yes.
Tariffs, government budgetary announcements, stuff like that. And second is the natural cycle, the ebb and flow of profits, margins, capacity expansion, margin contraction, then capacity construct, the whole supply demand curves and how margins evolve. And there's a natural way in which you can get, whether it is air conditioning stocks or cement stocks or,
Yes.
etc. Yeah. Sounds good. Anything else on the sector?
Yeah,
Shuffle.
the usual word of caution: don't get emotional, don't get attached. Accept if you're going wrong. You could be reading the signal wrong, then get out of it. I mean,
we'll do that. We'll do that.
So,
that's what you have.
So we always have to be clinical and true to our model.
Yeah. You need
So long as we are true to our model, I think the results will come.
Yeah. So the process is.
Yeah, process
more
is paramount.
important.
Yes, results will follow. MS Dhoni.
I thought it was Bhagwan Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita.
Oh,
Anyways.
wow. Yeah.
Okay, so on that note, we'll close this episode. Happy investing. Bye bye.